Are you a fan of the History Channel's American Pickers TV show? Me neither. But Dish TV seems to think we're pretty keen on the show, as they decided to shoot a commercial with them, and they did not skimp on the bad jokes or lousy puns. Today we'll be drawing up that little comedic gem and seeing if we can make it sparkle just a bit. Okay, so the spot we're going to be working on today is a crossover between Dish TV and the History Channel show American Pickers. So the spot starts out with the two guys from the show meeting up with a farmer who's got a vintage buffalo nickel he wants to sell. The guys are all excited to get their hands on this nickel, but then the farmer pulls back the doors of his barn, revealing a floor-to-ceiling labyrinth of junk and says, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in there somewhere." The tagline then reads, "Sometimes it can be hard to cut through the clutter. With Dish TV, it's easy." If you're interested in reading the full script, I've included it in a link below. Otherwise, let's move on. Okay, the first thing I've done here is grabbed all of my location photos and dropped them into one document. Then I went ahead and did the same thing with the cast photos. This will save me a hassle of having to open and close images all day long. I start by grabbing my fine tip marker and sketching things out as loosely and quickly as possible. This first shot is a POV shot through the windshield as the van approaches its location. Okay, so pretty self-explanatory. The camera is directly behind the driver's right shoulder, looking straight out the windshield at the open road. We're driving along this country road you see in my location photo here, and we'll be approaching the barn. Shot 2, wide shot as both guys walk towards the barn. So I've got our two characters walking away from camera. In the background here, I'm holding down the shift key. I'm just sort of blocking in the basic geometry of the barn you see in this location photo here. Doesn't have to be perfect at this point, but as close an approximation as possible would be nice. Feels a little tight right now, so let's widen this out a little bit just so we fit the entire barn in. And we've got some trees on the right here. Let's grab these guys and resize them to match the new size of the barn. And as you can see in this first location photo, which is a wider shot of the barn, we've got this V-shaped tree on the right-hand side. So let's drop that in. And then I'm just going to add some trees on the left to balance it out. I'm using my chisel marker to add the shadows in here, and then I'm using a custom-built foliage nozzle to paint in the trees here. If you're interested in this foliage nozzle, I'll include a link below where you can download it for free. Shot 3, a two-shot of the guys walking up to the barn. So this is a medium shot of the guys walking towards camera. Both are pretty excited to see this vintage buffalo nickel I've been hearing about. And I'll drop the van in the background so you understand where they're coming from. Shot 4, medium single on Mike. The camera's leading him as he continues walking towards camera and delivering his lines. Shot 5, a medium single on Frank. So this is simply a complimentary single on Frank as he delivers his line, which I believe is, imagine that. And I'll put the van in the background here just to tie it into shot 2. Shot 6, wide shot of all three from inside rusted out car. So if you look at the third location photo here, that rusted out car, the camera's going to be inside that car looking out the back window. We see the two hero guys meeting up with the farmer just outside of his barn. Shot 7, medium shot of all three guys, rusted out car in the background. So I'll drop the location photo down onto the boards first, then sketch out our two hero guys on frame right as the farmer on frame left delivers his line. It's a beauty, all right. Shot 8, barn interior wide shot as the door slides open. This is going to be a wide shot inside the barn as the farmer pulls back the door and the sunlight spills in. This is the first hint that these guys are in for a rough time. I'm using Painter's perspective tool here, set to 1-point perspective, to help me start sketching in all these boxes, containers, and just other assorted clutter. Once again, I'm using my chisel marker to block in all of the shadows and large areas of black. Shot 9, medium reaction shot. This is simply a two-shot of our hero guys looking a bit stunned. The next two frames are going to be labeled 10A and 10B. The A and the B communicate the fact that these are to be considered one shot. Specifically, we're going to start out behind our two guys, then boom up and over them to reveal the barn in all its cluttered glory. This B frame is supposed to be very similar to the closing warehouse scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You get the idea. These guys are screwed. Once again, putting the perspective tool to good use. We've got the vanishing point sent dead center and a bit high. And all these crates and boxes are going to fall along these perspective lines. Shot 11, wide overhead shot of guys walking through the barn. So the camera's directly overhead looking straight down as the guys move through frame. I don't know how high up they can realistically get that camera, but I'm going to exaggerate a bit just to make the point. Shot 12, medium profile as guys walk through the barn. To make this shot a little bit more interesting, I'm going to have the camera track with these guys, but behind a shelf filled with random junk. The idea is to frame the guys up with these boxes, making it, in my opinion, a better overall composition. Shot 13, close-up of television screen. So now we're cutting inside somebody's living room and seeing the show on TV. For this, I'm simply going to go back and copy frame 10B and paste it onto the screen. The voiceover says, sometimes to find what you're looking for, it can be hard to cut through the clutter. Shot 14, wide shot of living room, guy holding remote control. Now I'm going to cut out wide to see a customer watching American Pickers on TV as the voiceover says, but searching with the dish voice remote is easy, just say it and it's on. Now the director wanted a more 3/4 angle than what we're seeing here in this location photo, so I'm using my perspective tool to sketch the room out at the proper angle. Shot 15, guy sits on couch. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. The camera's in front of the guy from the television's POV as he sits down onto the couch. He then says into the remote, Mike Wolf and Frank Fritz. Shot 16, close on customer talking into remote. Shot 17, close on television. Cut back to the same shot of the TV as headshots of the two guys pops on. Voiceover says, pull up your favorite shows, discover new ones, search by show name, channel number, or actor. Shot 18, high wide 3/4 of living room. No need for further explanation here, just sketching out exactly what the shot description asks for. The spot ends with us cutting back into the barn as Frank asks, you know what would really help us find that nickel? To which Mike replies, a lucky penny? So that is it, folks. We've succeeded in sketching out the entire spot. I'm now going to shoot these boards out to the director and see what he thinks. Once the sketches are done and approved, the second half of the day is just spent tracing. At this point, I would normally pop an audiobook in and listen to stories while I redraw everything, cleaning it all up as I go and adding far more detail. Taking the director's note into account, I'm going to now grab these two guys, shift them over a bit to the right, so that I can squeeze the farmer in right from the beginning. So now, rather than meet them in the barn, he's with them right from the start. And because they had not yet cast the role at the time that I was drawing this up, I just went ahead and grabbed some random photo of a farmer from the internet and decided to use his likeness. So now we've got a nice clean 3 shot, the guys walking towards camera. Okay, so same deal with this shot here. In addition to our two hero guys, I'm going to shoehorn in this farmer over on the right. So let's stop for a minute here because I want to talk about just how awesome this foliage brush is that I'm using here. This is a nozzle brush that I created for painting in trees, and if you're interested in it, I'll provide a link below where you can grab it for free. But these nozzles in general are yet another reason why I think Painter trumps Photoshop. Instead of being restricted to just one brush tip, you can create multiple brush tips and have the nozzle randomly select between them all. So instead of just painting the same leaf over and over again, you can have like 9 or 16 different leaves, and each time you put the pen to the screen, you'll get a random selection of leaves. It's so incredibly useful, I'm surprised Photoshop never developed anything comparable. Once again, as per the director's notes, I'm going to shift the farmer over to the right side of frame so that he's walking alongside them. The brush that I'm using here is a custom grass nozzle. It's yet another example of how powerful and useful these nozzles are. Now I'm going back in with my chisel brush to add a little volume to these figures and fill in any shadows. Here I'm opening up my arrows template. This is just a sheet on which I've drawn as many different arrows as I can think of, so that all I have to do while working is just copy and paste the arrow I need. No point in redrawing the same thing over and over again. Here I'm using the rectangle shape tool to outline all the crates that are facing the camera. This can sometimes result in too much of a mechanical look, so I prefer to use this sparingly. If it were only 4 or 5 crates, I'd draw them by hand, but considering how many there are, I'm going to allow myself the luxury. For this 2 shot, I'm just going to copy frame 3, paste it, and resize it. And I'm going to go back in and change their expressions a bit.
A real 1917 S Buffalo nickel.
I can't wait to see it. It's a beauty, and it's right in here somewhere.
Sometimes it can be hard to cut through the clutter, but searching with the Dish voice remote is easy. Just say it and it's on.
Mike Wolf and Frank Fritz.
Pull up your favorite shows and discover new ones by searching show name, channel number, or actor.
American Pickers.
You know what would really help us to find that nickel?
A lucky penny.
American Pickers, Mondays at 9 on History.
In response to those boards, the director sent me this email. Vinny, these are great. Thanks for such a quick turnaround. Okay, so that just about wraps it up for this episode. If you got any thoughts or confusion what I've covered here today, by all means, hit me up and I'll do my best to answer all your questions. If you found this video insightful or entertaining and would like to see similar videos in the future, hit the subscribe button below. Until next time, this is Vinny Delay with Inking Rich.